Alright, I'll play ball with this person here, but he did comment in other places. I mean, I commend him on his respect for animals anyway, on another note, on another thing he commented on, so that's cool. But I'm only saying, I'm not being, what do you call it, hateful against this person here about what he's saying, but I understand what he's saying about some of what he thinks. I mean, that there's these people who, I want to say, assign these laws of normalcy that create these rules that don't even really exist. And in a way, I slightly contradicted himself, but he's just trying to tell me how some people actually think. But yet, I'm just saying it doesn't reflect the whole world being on the person's side. It's still just an opinion, in a sense that okay, he admits to me there doesn't have to be a manifesto, a book of rules, or a law against what you're saying. I mean, what you're wearing during a particular exercise activity, per se. I mean, but my argument is, well, there was things that I do in the line of work of what you're wearing. It's a more convenient time to do it anyway. Who gives a rat's ass what you're wearing? Hey, I wore like leather and steel-toed boots, which I endorse because, hey, I wore during things I do in work anyway where you're at, you know what I mean? And even if it's not working, hiking or climbing up or down something, an array of practical reasons. And I mean, if you want to use movies and video games, you know, as a little example, if you want to create something that way. But my thing mostly is, okay, you say there doesn't have to be a manifesto or a book of rules for it to be weird. But in saying that, you're actually condoning and endorsing the creation of a rule or a law on your own that doesn't exist for one's own convenience. Even though there isn't one saying that there doesn't have to be one, it's almost saying that, oh, there doesn't have to be a law declared. My definition of law, per se, my thing is, okay, if you're saying there doesn't have to be a law or a manifesto, my thing is, all right, fine, there doesn't have to be one, but the way I'm taking it is, okay, there's no law, rule, or manifesto needed. That means, to me also, no law, rule, or manifesto. That means no enforcing class gonna stop me from doing whatever. There is only a endorsing of an indication of a creation of a rule designed to belittle somebody, a rule, law. The one who will say that there doesn't have to be a law or manifesto, you know what I'm saying, indicates that they can create one on their own. It's based on some rule that they create, some of it being bias or whatever, and they indicate a very vague rule, which people do in religion and politics, far left, far right. No real law exists, but wants you to be afraid. What if there is one, or if you're pissing somebody off, or if you're supposed to be intimidated because, oh, maybe somebody might be offended, and somebody might want to, take you away to some 302, take you away to some insane asylum, or somebody's gonna, arrest you for it, or whatever that. Other than a rule of weird based on a bias and an indication that, that some part of the world is on their side. Oh, and my argument here, this is the most important thing. My argument is, my stuff is petty compared. It's not even on anybody's radar. Maybe yours and just a few people's radar. You know what I'm saying? Because they're too busy mainstreaming and normalizing all kind of other crazy shit. And I'm saying, because of all the other crazy shit that people were normalizing, nobody else really gives a shit. You know what I mean? So anyway, what I'm saying is, what I'm doing is practical. yoga studios, I'm not bashing them. I look at a lot of people that are into them, but it's very apologetic if it floats people's boat. And some of it on YouTube, I'm not bashing it. I like some of them, but there's some of it out there that I kind of went by and don't really care for. I just pass it by because it looks obviously overly sexualized. But yeah, see, my argument is my shit that people have an opinion on is very petty and it's not on anybody's radar because they're too busy mainstreaming some pretty weird shit that used to be considered weird, but yet they're mainstreaming and is normal, and literally, you know what I mean? Rewriting the textbook meanings of abnormal psychiatry, so to speak, just to accommodate and to suit special interests, you know what I'm saying? When you see that shit that's being mainstreamed out there where they're literally rewriting the textbook meanings of abnormalness to accommodate, I think everybody's so busy with that and mainstreaming and some really out there stuff that used to be now they're normalized. No, but very few people even give a shit about thinking anything that I am doing, what yoga in a leather jacket and steel-toed boots. You and maybe a couple other people, you know, not in a bad way, represent only a small fraction. I mean, I'm not even saying it's an opinion. I'm not saying you're being hateful, and I'm not being hateful toward you. I'm just saying that, I mean, if anybody wants to be a dork about it, what I did is my stuff works for me, leather jackets and steel-toed boots, because I work these things called actual laboring jobs where some of these people have no clue about, and it was just a convenience and practical. No time for a yoga studio, not bashing a yoga studio, and I had a tendency to make a few people in warehouses jealous. At the same time, I've actually, people were okay with it, but there was some of the people that had a hate toward it or an insecurity toward it were, I told people before, in some warehouses, some people like it, and I did it even to kind of show off in front of some chicks or whatever, and nobody had a problem with it because there were people, women in tattoos picking up heavy objects, you know what I'm saying, that for the most part nobody else gave a shit. The only few people that gave a shit were, you'll find in life, in where my shit is designed for, right? The only ones that really gave a shit or were offended or considered it weird or it was, in a sense, considered challenging and confrontational or considered a territorial pissing. It was considered pissing on a particular person's authority, like the authority of some guy in a beard in a warehouse with a beer belly and a beer belly and an attitude, which they consider, in so many words, pissing on their authority. And some places, even outside of that realm, or some places on YouTube. But that's what I'm doing, you know, say on YouTube and here. I want that to be practical. It works for me. Who gives a... Hey, if something actually works for your convenient reasons, you know, like work-related, even work-related out there, say having to use shovels, I shouldn't have to explain that shit to a lot of people, but some people on YouTube, I am at the same time pissing on your authority of whatever authority you think something is weird. That's the middle finger is automatically retroactive, you know what I'm saying, whether on here or in the world. But yet I'm just something that's practical, you know what I mean. Yeah, nothing against the yoga studio. The yoga studio is very apologetic and sheep-like, and there are, like, rules. And unfortunately says, well, maybe in your own house you don't have the time for your plastic yoga mat, and you gotta be somewhere else anyway, and there's no time, you know what I mean? And for a lot of other purposes, maybe you want to be able to have more flexibility to kick somebody's face into outer space, you know what I mean, and be able to have some kind of skill, like say, like wearing jackets, which some kinds of jackets and coats and clothes and shoes restrict you. What you do is you adapt and get used to it. You know, I did the whole videos on my cases with, I pissed off evolution people, where I believe evolution is like this way. I don't think we come out of monkeys. I don't give a rat's behind about anybody coming from monkeys, but yet I admit I'll piss off some religious people that yes, we can evolve and de-evolve during our life without ever saying that you came out of monkeys, and that pisses, I think, both sides off. I literally pissed the evolution people off, you know, too. And I'll have more videos about that, but I don't know. It's just, some people think something in this video is a waste of time, but I mean, this is a part of my particular manifesto. You know, I am showing and endorsing practical things, and some people that don't like it, they mostly have a stick up their ass some kind of way, and they're insecure, or they're not necessarily bad people. They're like brainwashed to be afraid of literally what you're admitting to there being really a non-existent law or rule, yet there's an indication that you're supposed to be afraid that there is one. And people on the far right say this shit, what I'm saying, but the far left do that shit too. The far left want you to think that, but the far right who preach against, you know, you want to be afraid of a non-existent rule, they're the biggest purveyors of such manufactured rules for their convenience, for their advantage. You know, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?